Welcome back to talkSPORT End Zone, talkSPORT's dedicated NFL YouTube channel. Myself, Will Varney, here in the sun in Battersea in London at the Chicago Bears camp here. And the Chicago Bears do some fantastic work throughout the season with the Mini Monsters Clinic, the NFL Girls Flag Football League as well. And it's an absolute pleasure to say that joining me here today in a very sunny, lovely England, Roschon Johnson, running back for the Chicago Bears. Roschon, how are you? Welcome to England. How are you feeling?
Sir. I'm feeling great. Glad to be here, blessed to be here, and I'm just loving it. So.
Well, look, you were back here 6 months ago at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as the Bears played the Jags, but I just wanted to ask you about days like today, how important they are and how nice it is for you to see the growth of the sport as well in the UK when you cross the Atlantic and you just see, especially young girls here enjoying themselves today. What's it like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely great. It's definitely a blessing just to come out here and be able, to be a part of something special like this. Flag football, with it being an Olympic sport coming up here in 2028, I definitely think it's a growing opportunity for a lot of demographics, a lot of people, not just in America but worldwide, as you can see. So, yeah, I feel like it gave me a great opportunity to give back to the communities, not just of America but overseas as well for me, and just to be out here and interact with the young ladies is a special time for sure.
I mentioned that you were back here about 6 months ago in October playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I just wanted to first get your thoughts on that experience and what it's like as an athlete coming to play internationally. We love having the London games here in the city, but what's that experience like? What was that week like for you as well, playing a game internationally?
It was definitely cool, definitely different, a different vibe, a different experience. It was my first time, across the pond, if you will. So it was definitely just overall just great experience. Definitely something that I hope to do again pretty soon. I enjoy Tottenham Stadium. Enjoy practicing on the British countryside and just experiencing that whole deal. So it was definitely a dream come true.
I have to ask you, because there's so many games coming up internationally. We've got a game in Dublin this upcoming season, in Berlin, in Madrid. Is there any locations, any places you would love to play a game before you hang up the cleats? Whenever that time comes, you're still a young man.
Yeah. Honestly,
we've got a game in Australia in 2 years, of course, as well.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's hard to say. I don't know. There's so many different places that I want to go and want to play. But I would definitely Africa. There's a few different countries in Africa, South Africa, Brazil. It's honestly too many to say.
Well, so many options, like I say, in the game growing internationally, which is just great to see. I have to ask about last season and just reflections on last season. Obviously, raised expectations going into it, but then ended up in disappointment, it's fair to say, a 5-12 record. You've had some time now come the end of the season to reflect on it. What are some of the lessons that you learned in just your second year in the league, but what are your reflections on the season overall as well? Yeah,
definitely a lot of learned lessons for, not just us as players, but us as an organization. I definitely think it was a good year for Caleb to learn from, just kind of experience. I feel like it's good to kind of go through those hardships in your early years and just, build off of that and continue to learn from him and just grow from him and make the most out of it. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to, what's in store for this upcoming season and then just how we can progress and just make the most out of it.
We'll touch on Caleb in a second, but I just wanted to ask you about your start to life in the NFL, 2 seasons now. How do you feel like your career is progressing, and what are some of the reflections that you've had overall on your start in the NFL as well? Because people talk about this big jump from college to the NFL. How have you found that leap, and what is that like?
I definitely think it's been an adjustment for me. I feel like there's a lot left on the table for me to explore, just from a physical standpoint of what I can do. I definitely think I made a leap from year 1 to year 2, just on my overall understanding of the game and how to play the game and just how to prepare off the field as well. And I definitely think, there's just a lot left on the table. So I feel like upcoming for the years, I'll definitely put my best showing forward.
People talk about welcome to the NFL moments. Did you have one?
I did, but I don't like talking about it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to talk about it.
That's absolutely fine, don't worry. I have to, you mentioned Caleb there. I just wanted to ask about maybe the jump that we're going to see from him coming into his second year. You mentioned there was a really good grounding, a really good setting for him coming into the league, especially as a number 1 overall pick. What is he like behind the scenes? With a player that we don't see maybe on the field, what is he like?
He's a very chill, just like normal guy. Definitely, I mean, with the market in Chicago, I feel like we get so much media attention and just so much just blank media that people paint a picture of him, but that's not what it actually is. He's just himself, very chill, very kind of laid back, and just kind of his own person. I definitely think he's somebody that people gravitate towards and people respect. People definitely realize his talent, and we all just kind of rock with him. So, yeah, I mean, he's just kind of his own self in his own right.
What was his leadership style coming into the building? I'm intrigued. Coming in as a number 1 overall pick comes with maybe, a bit of an aura, you could say, or a bit of gravitas. But did he come into the building with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, or was he one of the guys instantly and has grown throughout that leadership style throughout the season last year?
Yeah, I would definitely say Caleb's leadership style. He definitely leads by example, I think, first and foremost. He's always a guy who's on his P's and Q's. I mean, obviously, with him being a rookie, there's stuff for him to learn and just ways for him to go about his business, which I think he'll learn from going forward. But, yeah, he was vocal when needed to be. And definitely, I think for the years coming, I think he'll be even more vocal just from learning off of this past year. But, yeah, he definitely kind of mixes in, leading by example and his vocal leadership, which I think he can build off of going into, this next upcoming season.
You mentioned that, that higher media attention that was on the Bears last year, and part of that was with Hard Knocks coming in the off-season.
Right.
What is that experience like? Because we've seen it now with the Bears last year and then the Jets the previous year. It feels like a lot of players go into the season. It does feel like it slightly hampers them in terms of that higher media expectation and attention. What was that experience like for you?
I honestly didn't pay attention to it. I think that's the best way to deal with it. Is just not absorb yourself into it, and just kind of let the media be the media without me having to participate in it. So yeah, it was definitely cool kind of to have those guys there, but at the same time you can't pay attention to it too much because you got a job to do at hand. So.
New head coach in the building, really exciting. The fact that Ben Johnson's coming in from the Detroit Lions, a team that you'll have seen his offense play, considering they're in the NFC North twice a year.
Yeah.
How excited are you to be a part of the offense, especially with what you've seen that he was able to achieve and the success that he had with that offense in Detroit?
Yeah, I'm more than excited. I definitely think he's a great offensive mind that knows how to put the pieces together and work towards the strength of his players. So I'm excited to see what he drafts up for us. And just excited to see how we go forward with him. Yeah, like you said, in Detroit, he used the weapons that he had to the best extent possible from what I've seen. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited.
And you mentioned the growth that we're going to see from Caleb, the fact that what Ben Johnson was able to get out of Jared Goff over the last few seasons as well, that must make you and Bears fans really confident as well in what we're going to see from Caleb stepping up, especially in this offense that could be really exciting, really entertaining as well. Yeah,
no doubt. I definitely think he was the element to Jared Goff's game that made him comfortable enough to go out and showcase what he could do to the best extent. So, God willing, I hope that's the same with Caleb and then with this team, and I feel like we'll take off from there.
I wanted to ask about your position in general. We saw with Ben Johnson's offenses that impact, the dynamism of both of his running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, especially in the last couple of seasons.
Right.
The role that could have with you and DeAndre Swift coming into this season as well, that added expectation on your shoulders. How exciting is that for you and the role that you could have in this offense coming up into the season?
Yeah, it's very exciting just to see him, utilize two backs really to the best extent of the game. I definitely think it's something that we can definitely use, and I'm more than willing to do. So yeah, I definitely think his experience of doing that should be beneficial and should help us elevate.
Just a couple of more questions from me. We've seen, in terms of the offensive line, a real overhaul this year so far in free agency. Jonah Jackson coming in, who knows Ben Johnson very well from their time in Detroit. Joe Thuney coming in, a four-time Super Bowl champion. And then you also have Drew Dalman coming in at centre as well. I just wanted to ask, we focused so much on the offensive line and them building that rapport with the quarterback, but I just wondered from a running back's perspective, how important is it for you to build that comfortable aspect with those guys on in the trenches, to be able to be comfortable and be able to be at the best possible game for you coming into the season as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a big thing for us as running backs. I mean, we can't do anything without the O-line. So yeah, the better they can be, the better we all can be on the same page. I feel like only elevates our game. So yeah, it'll be crucial.
In terms of the running back market, I'd have to ask you about the position. It feels like over the last couple of seasons, especially last season with what we saw from Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, all at new teams and having phenomenal years, compared to maybe the respect level that the position was getting a couple of years ago in the market, where do you think the position's at now?
I mean, yeah, like you said, guys like Saquon, Derrick, I think they're definitely putting on a showing for running backs and realizing how important that can be for a team. So I definitely think it elevates the stock for a running back, and it definitely showcases, the importance of one, because you can't just say you can just put necessarily anybody back there and everything's gonna be all right. It definitely elevates the team, and like it proved for Philly, it can definitely benefit and ultimately leading to championships. So, the power of this sport is in the run game. So I feel like the running back position perfectly exemplifies that.
Well, we could see plenty of running backs taken in the upcoming draft, which is only a couple of weeks away at the end of April. I have to ask you about your experience being drafted 4th round, 115th overall. But what is that experience like? We love watching the draft play out, but the whole process, whether it's the combine, whether it's pro days, what's that like for you going through that? Is it stressful? And then how much of a relief is it when that moment comes, you hear your name called, you know where you're heading, and what's that moment like with your family as well? Just give us a bit of insight.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a hectic process, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely something that's kind of nerve-wracking, but something that you also kind of are grateful for at the same time. So it's a lot of different emotions that I was kind of dealing with going through that whole process, trying to make sure I was on my P's and Q's and make sure I was doing everything I could to be the best version of me, but at the same time just kind of not knowing was also a stress as well. But yeah, like you said, once you get your name called, there's a feeling of relief, but also the journey's just starting. So yeah, it's a wave of emotions that you kind of have to deal with all at once.
You're a Texas Longhorn. You grew up in Texas, a Texas native as well. I have to ask you, when you were in your final year at Texas, a couple of freshmen coming through, Kelvin Banks Jr., Quinn Ewers as well, both of these guys looking to be drafted in a couple of weeks' time. Just wanted to get your views on what you saw from them as prospects in your final year when you were at Texas, and their hopes going forward as well in their NFL careers.
Yeah, Kelvin's my guy. He's from Houston, Texas. I grew up an hour away from Houston. He was a professional as a freshman, so he came in the building ready to play. Had the right mindset. Just an overall great guy. So hopefully, maybe in the draft, maybe I'll get to play with him. Nod at Ron Poles, but hey, like I said, he was a great guy, great teammate, and he'll be more than successful in his career, as well as Quinn. Quinn definitely, he progressed over the years that I've played with him and watched him play, and I think he's did nothing but elevated himself as a leader and as a quarterback, and I'm happy to see his success.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens out on draft night. Final question from myself. Really appreciate your time today, Roschon. Looking ahead to the season then for the Chicago Bears, the expectation that maybe is growing in an offense that's going to be so exciting and entertaining to watch, what should the expectations be for the Chicago Bears this season?
Just winning. I feel like, just simply put, just winning. However it gets done, whatever way we got to do it, if we got to go to overtime every single game, like, it don't matter, just to win. So I feel like that's the standard that I feel like Ben is pushing, and that's kind of what he's living by. So I feel like just winning.
Roschon, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you here in London. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip in the UK. All the best for the next season as well.
Thank you. Appreciate you.